Hello everybody, it's Shrouded Hand here. Today I'm looking at 3 photos taken before the person died in mysterious or eerie circumstances. These snapshots often give us small clues as to what happened to them in their final moments, a sinister hint at their ultimate fate, often bringing up more questions than answers. This is the last known photograph of Abigail Williams. The picture was taken in 2017 by her friend Liberty German as they crossed the Monon Bridge over Deer Creek in Delphi, Indiana. The girls, aged 13 and 14, were walking a well-known trail through remote woodland. They had been dropped off by Libby's sister at the start of the trail. The plan was for them to walk the trail and be picked up by Libby's father 2 hours later at the other end. When they failed to turn up on time, they were reported as missing and police searched the area. Around noon the following day, their bodies were found. The 2 girls had been murdered and left at the side of the creek, about half a mile from Monon Bridge. The only clues as to what happened to them were on Libby's phone. She had taken 2 photos on the bridge and posted them to Snapchat, but there was another recording on the phone. Just as they reached the other side of the bridge, something made her take out her phone and start recording a video. From the angle of the recording, it seemed she was holding a phone down by her side, as if to conceal the fact that she was filming. The man walking towards them has still never been identified. Monon Bridge itself can be a nerve-wracking thing to cross. It's an old railway track that crosses high above the creek. The wooden slats are far apart and rotting in places. This photo was taken when they were about halfway across the bridge, and as you can see, there's no one else behind them. It seems that whoever caught up with them knew the bridge well enough to cross it quickly and was hurrying to catch up with them. The police only released a small portion of what Libby recorded that day. One part shows the man walking towards him, but another is an audio recording where his voice can be heard saying, "Down the hill."
Guys. Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill.
Most people have concluded that the man caught up with them and then ordered them down the hill onto a more secluded private road. The murder remains unsolved to this day. This last photo of Abby has been analysed by a lot of people, but apart from providing a timestamp and location, it offers very little clues. Some have said that a man can be seen at the end of the bridge, but this turns out just to be posts in the ground. Others think that they can see someone hiding near this tree, but that turned out to be a fallen branch. More poignantly though, it offers a glimpse into the lives of 2 friends out enjoying themselves, completely unaware of the tragedy that's about to befall them. These are some of the last photographs of Princess Diana and her entourage alive. On the 31st of August 1997, she was getting ready to leave the Ritz Hotel in Paris. The hotel was surrounded by paparazzi. A decoy black Mercedes-Benz was driven from the front entrance to distract the photographers, whilst Diana left in a similar car from the rear entrance of the hotel. In the back seats were Diana and her partner Dodi Fayed. In the front passenger seat was royal bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, and the driver was Henry Paul, deputy head of security at the Ritz Hotel. The distraction wasn't enough to stop a large group of paparazzi on motorbikes mobbing Diana's car as they drove along the road. These pictures were taken sometime between them leaving the Ritz and entering the Place d'Alma tunnel. In order to escape the swarm of photographers, Henry Paul sped up to over 100 km/h and raced into the tunnel. He then lost control of the vehicle and smashed headlong into a concrete pillar. Henry Paul and Dodi Fayed were killed instantly. Trevor Rees-Jones survived when his airbag deployed, and Diana did initially survive, but her injuries were extremely severe and she died in hospital a few hours later. I'm not sure what sequence these pictures go in, so I don't know which is actually the final photo, but I think this one tells us most about the panic of the situation. Diana looking backwards at the pursuing motorbikes, Trevor half blinded by the camera flashes, and Henry Paul with this manic look on his face. Apparently he was more than 2 times over the drink driving limit at the time, and he was on prescription medication that could have interacted badly with the alcohol. Now, I can't talk about this incident without mentioning some of the conspiracy theories. To do these theories service, it would take an entire video in itself, so I'm going to give you a very quick overview, but bear in mind I'm leaving a lot of details out. Many people believe that Diana was deliberately killed. The royal family didn't approve of Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, and so they instructed MI6 agents to have her killed and make it look like an accident. You can go even deeper into this conspiracy. Some people even believe that the death was sacrificial. The Illuminati had killed the princess, who was pregnant at the time. They had done it at that exact time, at that exact place, as a sacrifice to Horus. The numbers 13 and its mirror 31 were particularly significant, which is why it took place on the 31st of August. Henry Paul had been brainwashed by MK Ultra to drive the car into the 13th pillar of the tunnel at high speed. Like I say, this is all deep dive stuff. I've heard some pretty solid debunks of a lot of the conspiracy theories surrounding Diana's death, but I'm not here to tell people what to believe. I just wanted to mention the conspiracy theories because they're kind of tied up with this case. The look on Henry Paul's face is creepy though. If you were to tell me that those were the eyes of a man who was being mind controlled, I'd probably believe it. It could be the antipsychotic medication in his system mixing badly with the alcohol though. Either way, he looks completely crazy, and that's probably the thing I find creepiest about this photograph. Knowing that it was his driving that caused their deaths, and this was the expression on his face before he did so. There's something extremely sinister about that. This last one I'd not heard much about. It was actually suggested to me by a patron called Rejected Driftwood, so thanks a lot for the suggestion. The last known photograph of Chris Kramer's is nothing but a close-up of the hair on her head, and that's all part of the mystery of this story because nobody quite knows why these pictures exist. Chris Kramer's and Lizana Froon had recently graduated from university. They had saved up enough money to travel to Panama. Their plan was to visit the area for 6 weeks, during which time they would explore the sites and volunteer to teach local children Spanish. Travelling from Amsterdam to Costa Rica, then east into Panama, they ended up in a small town called Boquete on the 29th of March 2014. This is a small mountain town which is surrounded by thick jungles. They were staying with a family who lived in the town. On the 1st of April, the 2 girls decided to go for a walk along the Pianista Trail. It's a well-marked path that leads through the heavy forests around the outskirts of the town. They took the family's dog along with them for the walk, but later that night the dog came back to the house all alone. The girls were nowhere to be seen. The whole trip, Chris and Lizana had been regularly messaging their family and posting Facebook updates. But on the night of their disappearance, all messages completely stopped. By the 3rd of April, a full-scale search was underway for the missing girls. By the 6th of April, the girls still missing, the parents arrived in Boquete to aid in their search. It wouldn't be until 10 weeks later when the first clue was found. A woman handed in a blue backpack to the police, saying that she found it in a rice paddy field. The paddy field was about 8 hours walk from Boquete, and it was through extremely dense and difficult terrain. The backpack was completely dry and the contents were in good condition, which was weird because there'd been heavy rain in the last few weeks. Even stranger, the woman who found the bag said that she walks past that place every day and she was sure the bag wasn't there the day before. Whoever had placed the bag there had kept it safe and dry for more than 2 months. Inside the bag was Lizana's passport, a water bottle, sunglasses, a couple of bras, and it was all neatly packed away. More importantly, there was the girls' phones and a Canon PowerShot digital camera belonging to Lizana. These items contained eerie clues as to what might have happened to the girls. Both of the phones had made several attempts to contact emergency services a few hours after they first headed off on their walk, but they must have been in deep jungle because they were unable to get a signal from wherever they were at the time. Lizana's phone had ran out of battery by the third day, and after that it seems that Chris switched off her phone, and it was only switched back on every couple of days to check for a better signal. It seems they were trying to conserve the battery. Strangely enough, after the 6th day, whoever was using the phone was unable to unlock the screen. The phone logs show 77 attempts to unlock the phone to make a call. Whoever was using the phone at this point, it doesn't seem like it was Chris. The story got even stranger when they checked the digital camera. The first set of pictures are what you might expect. It shows the girls on the trail posing at a scenic spot before heading deeper into the jungle. Shortly after this, the photographs stopped and the emergency calls began. There are no other photos taken until the early hours of the 8th day. Starting at 1 AM, the camera takes a series of 90 photographs over the course of 3 hours. Almost all the images show nothing but an empty jungle in complete darkness. The pictures seem frantic and desperate. Bear in mind that by this time they had been lost in the forest for over a week, wearing nothing but shorts and t-shirts with whatever scant rations they'd packed for a day trip. Almost all the pictures seem to have been shot upwards into the tree canopy above them. A few are shot down into a canyon. One shows a tree branch with some red plastic wrapped bizarrely around it. Maybe they were trying to use the camera flash to signal somebody in the dark, or maybe just attempting to light their way. The last few pictures are the most puzzling though. There are 2 shots that I can find seeming to show Chris. One shows what looks like the side of her face in extreme close-up. The other one is the shot of her hair. A few people have said that this picture shows that Chris was injured and there's blood flowing from her temple, but I can't really see it. There's a bit of the hair where it looks slightly redder than the rest, but that could just be the colour of the picture. Maybe there's a photograph that hasn't been released to the public yet that shows some injury, but I'm not sure. Maybe people are just reading too much into this photograph. The final picture of the night shows some papers on a rock. Many have speculated that this might be an attempt to write an SOS sign on the floor. After this, the camera is switched off and never used again. These photographs bring up an interesting conundrum. If Chris Kramers appears in the photos taken on the 8th day, why wasn't she able to unlock her phone since the 6th day? Examining the camera's files reveals another mystery. As the camera takes pictures, it gives the images a numbered file name so that they can be displayed in sequence. For some reason, one of the photos seems to be missing. The photographs are numbered uniformly up till image 505, then it suddenly jumps to 507. Image 506 is nowhere to be found. There has been attempts to recover this lost file, but they were entirely unsuccessful, which is very odd because deleted photos are usually easy to recover. The camera's memory card wasn't full, so the deleted file can't have been written over. Even stranger is the fact that image 508 contains a timestamp that shows that it was taken before image 507, something that should be impossible for the camera to do. Perhaps it's just a glitch. Picture 508 is most likely the missing 506 file, but some have speculated that this shows some sort of file manipulation, and as it seems to be the last pictures on the roll before the girls apparently went missing and started to call emergency services, it's led many to believe that they captured something on the camera that somebody didn't want others to see. There was a wide search of the area where the bag was found, and shortly afterwards they found Chris's shorts folded neatly on top of a rock. It would take another 2 months before they found the bodies, or at least what was left of them. Strewn along a riverbank, there were many of the girls' bones in various stages of decomposition, along with a hiking boot with Lizana's foot still inside. Weirdly, Chris's bones were completely stripped of flesh, and they were covered in a high level of phosphorus, a substance not naturally found in the soil of the area. Lizana's remains were more intact, with the flesh still attached. This has led to speculation that Chris died first, and somebody attempted to get rid of the evidence by covering the body in some kind of chemical. Whatever did happen to Chris and Lizana, whether they just got lost and injured, or if there was foul play involved, we'll probably never know. There's many speculations as to why the pictures were taken, as well as possibly being an attempt to signal for help or to light their path. Some have suggested that they were being stalked by an unseen predator, either animal or human, and they were trying to scare it away with the flash or to get a photograph as evidence. Another creepy theory is that it's neither of the girls taking the pictures. By this time they could have both been dead or at least kidnapped, and whoever did it could be using the camera to take some trophy shots. This last theory seems unlikely given the fact that most of the pictures are of complete darkness, but it goes to show how some ambiguous final photographs can raise a lot more questions than they answer. Nearly every person in the world will have a last photo. You never know when you're going to die, so you best hope you weren't doing something stupid in that last photograph of yourself. It kind of makes me wonder what my own last photograph is going to look like. So if this video gave you the creeps, I made a very similar one a few years ago that you might like as well. I'll put a link to it in the end card if you want to watch it. I've got 2 more drawings to show. More strange interpretations of my logo. This one is by Corpse Knights. I like it because they actually added a body. I always wondered what I looked like from the neck down, and now I know. Also, it's terrifying, so bonus points for that. You made me look like I spend my time in a dark cave eating ramen noodles, which is pretty close to the truth. Seeker99 has gone for a more totemic approach. This is also terrifying in its own way. It makes me think of an ancient monolith that comes to life every 1,000 years, or some mythological creature like the Mothman. Thanks to both of you for letting me share your drawings. I'll put links to both of their Instagrams in the description below, so go give them a follow and check out their artwork. Also a huge thanks to everyone supporting me on Patreon and PayPal this month. You really are helping to keep the channel running. If you'd also like to help out, there should be a link on screen now that says something like support the channel. If you click that, it'll take you to my Patreon page. Otherwise, go and check out the other last photos video. It's from 3 years ago, so my voice is even more cringe than it is in this video, but you might still enjoy it. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.